Welcome, everyone, to Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal. As you can see, it's not so normal tonight. Carl's not here yet. I'm waiting to hear from him. But as you can see, Ron and I are here, and we're excited to be here, be visiting with all of you. And tonight, we have some guests for you, so we're not going to beat around the bush. And we're just going to bring Hey, Nigel.
Hey, Nigel.
Thank you for coming. I did want to give everybody an update. There's no update with my nephew with glioblastoma and my nephew Vincent. But if you want to help out with the cause in any way, either one, give me send me a message and I'll tell you how you can help out with either one. But other than that, we have some wonderful guests on tonight. We have Mike and Tory Kratz on. We've had them on before. We talked to them about hypnosis and some other things. And they run a wellness center down here in Fort Walton Beach, I believe. I hope I'm right. But if I'm wrong, guess what? They're going to tell me. And I want you guys to listen to this because this could help you. Because they've helped me out by sending me some information and stuff on my migraines and things like that. So they've got lots of information that they can share with you. And so we're going to go ahead and get started and bring them up. Welcome.
Hey.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Thank you for having us again.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we've had people contact us multiple times and ask, are you going to have them back on? And I said, yes. I said, I just don't know when. And we're waiting to find out more about what's going on in, our radio world right now. But, because I don't know. We took a hiatus for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Things change and come back and you're like, okay, when you miss a day, when you miss a week of work, you come back and you're like, what's changed? Oh my God, everything's changed.
Hello, Mom.
So tell us about the Complete Holistic Coaching and Wellness Center that you guys run.
So we are located in Miramar Beach, Florida, just down from Fort Walton. And everyone calls this whole area Destin anyway. So
yeah.
Because it's a parking lot in the summer anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So what we do a lot with do meditation facilitation. We do holistic wellness coaching, kind of along the lines of if what you've been doing for the past 5-6 years isn't working, it's probably not sustainable. So we try to bring everybody back to the basics. Listen to your body, listen to your intuition on what you need to do. Will you achieve the results that you want within that 48-hour time frame that everybody in the world is wanting to happen? No. But if you do it on a sustainable way, the results you get will last a lifetime, and you can, pass on the knowledge to your family or friends. We do hypnotherapy as well. And we also just finished it was like a 30-day course in kind of energy healing, that was pretty interesting. And it all kind of tied together with, especially when we're listening with what you guys do with the energy. And then if you still feel bogged down, how to clear it. And it of course goes along the lines of, in your subconscious and with some hypnosis or even your meditation. So that is what we have been up to here and there. And that's what we provide our clients, kind of a whole host of things.
And you guys do this remotely as well as in the office.
Yes, you can. And you can actually get just as good a results doing it over Zoom or Skype or like FaceTime as you can if you were in person. So we do have clients in other states. And the reason for that, well, how can you do hypnotherapy over a Zoom call? How is that going to be effective? I need to be there. Not really. It can be more effective because we are conducting your session in your environment that is possibly causing your presenting problem, your stress, your anxiety, or whatever reasons you've come to us with. So when we go through the session, reframe, transform, and then bring you back to full awareness, you are now still in the same environment. So it's kind of good to see, oh, well, I got rid of this. Well, normally You know, my neighbor mowing the grass at 4 o'clock in the morning would drive me up a wall, but now I can. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah. I wish
Do you have that problem?
it's not 4 in the morning,
But it's really early.
but it's pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know people that use that as a tactic against neighbors that keep them up all night.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sound familiar?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you know, get right underneath their bedroom window and rev that mower.
No.
It works great.
Yeah, not an electric one.
Yeah, not an electric one. The electric one doesn't
Yeah.
have the
Yeah, no.
oomph that you need. And like Ron said about the parking lot, a couple weeks ago, we went down to Fort Walton.
Okay.
They know.
we just went for a night just to get away for our wedding anniversary. And we're on 98, and we all know we all hate 98, but we're there, and we're going to Walmart because we're going to buy our kids some airbrush shirts for our grandkids. You know, and the best place to get them is in Fort Walton because you're not at the beach, you're away from it.
Mm-hmm.
While we were sitting there, these girls got out of the car at the light. Okay, so the light was red. Got out of the car and they went over to the donut shop, got donuts, and came back.
Across the street.
Oh my goodness.
We went to that donut shop that night. It was really good.
Oh, is it Parlor Donuts?
Mhm.
I don't know. They had a bunch of French.
It's in
Type
a little,
pastries.
like a little strip mall.
Oh, okay.
A little bitty one.
It was right near the city hall, the Fort Walton Beach City Hall.
Oh, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was very good. They had a coconut cream donut that was as big as my head with topping on top of it about this high. We had such a good meal, I couldn't eat it afterwards, but the next morning it was really good.
Oh, nice.
Perfect.
So we can suggest that place to you if I can just remember the name of it. But it was really good, and they were really fast for those girls.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. And that's stuff that you don't see anywhere. I mean, you know, it's like you can't make that stuff up, you know?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So
No.
we've seen some interesting things on 98.
Yeah. And you know, did you see that Navarre Beach was on the news yesterday?
No.
For the wind, they made the Weather Channel. The wind yesterday, the wind all kicked up.
Yeah,
and,
it just kicked up for a little bit.
Yeah, just for a few minutes, and all the umbrellas went flying.
Oh no.
No.
It's fun to see the place that we just were on Sunday being torn up by umbrellas.
We've had some really odd weather this year, but I think a lot of people have, you know, all the excess rain and the wind. It's just the lightning, everything.
Yeah. You know what? I am happy as pie that we're having all the rain, though, because we need it. I mean,
we haven't had as much as you have.
No.
It's a lot of it's been dying out before it even gets up here.
Oh man.
Oh man, that's good.
it does this.
Or splits.
Wow. Yep.
And Milton gets missed on parts of it, which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad enough. Our daughter came to visit from Vegas, and she goes, "When are we going to go to the beach?" And I go,
"Oh yeah, it was the only time we really got any rain."
Yeah, that's every time we had a chance to go, it was raining at the beach. Mm-hmm. It's one thing if it's raining at our house; it's not a big deal.
Sure.
But it was raining at the beach, and it was lightning, and it's like, oh, well, you know, can't go.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it is what it is. But I know Miramar is really very pretty area.
It really is. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
But that's one thing you've got to be careful of, because I think there was a 29-year-old either in Fort Walton or something got struck by lightning. He was at the beach, and when the storms come in, he ended up getting, and people don't realize the danger. You know, I mean, lightning can strike 5 miles from where you hear the thunder. So you have to be very, very cautious.
We tell the kids, if the lightning's within 10 miles, you guys have to come in.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they want to be on the swing set. And I'm like,
oh, no.
Oh, geez.
Your conductor right there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that they didn't get a lot of lightning in Vegas when they lived there. So I know that she doesn't understand.
Sure.
But pay it. Grandma's not stupid.
Maybe.
I mean, I remember growing up, and do you remember when they used to tell us not to be on the phone during lightning storms?
Yes.
That's not the case now.
No, everybody's on their phones.
So I don't know. It's weird, but it's sad to hear somebody else got struck by lightning.
Yeah.
I think it was an ankle deep water.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't in that deep. I mean,
No.
Yeah.
Well, water is a conductor.
It is. Yes. So
Be cautious.
Well, maybe now he'll be aware of where the lightning is.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm pretty sure he will always know where the lightning is.
Yeah, he's gonna remember. Yeah,
exactly.
That's kind
I think he'll feel it in the air.
Yeah. You get an extra tingling sensation.
So I know that you guys I'm going to go a different route with this.
Sure.
What is your most requested service?
that.
Or hypnotherapy.
Yeah, would be the hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
For what type of hypnotherapy? To stop smoking? To stop eating? What?
No, actually, so more
This is
recently, relationship issues, and also PTSD.
How do you help with the PTSD?
So with the type of hypnotherapy modality that we use, a lot of people don't understand, there's different methods of hypnosis. Like we kind of explained last time, some of the listeners will, remember this from then, but with stage hypnotism, you're going there for entertainment. So your mind is open for that entertainment purpose. So, hey, I could do something silly. I might cluck like a chicken, bark like a dog, use my shoe as a cell phone, whatever it may be, because your mind is open for that. So with hypnotherapy, that you're there for therapeutic purposes. So your mind's not going to be open to doing something silly unless you already have it planted in there, but we're not going to guide you in that direction. So you have to be a participant in your therapy session. So with like PTSD, what we do is we just get you in a relaxed state. You close your eyes, and basically it's like we're having a conversation just like I am now. What we're doing with your eyes closed is basically opening the channel to your subconscious, because we have so much stimulus in front of us. Your eyes, your brain is there to protect you. It always has been. That's kind of what it was programmed for. And so it's constantly looking for, dangers, threats, things like that. So when we close our eyes, we tend to kind of calm down a little bit because our nervous system isn't, stimulating in that way, and it's not stimulating our brain. So what we're able to do in that setting where you're a little more calm, you don't have that stimulus, is we're able to get to your subconscious much faster. And then what we do is we take you back to 3 scenes that have to do with whatever the presenting problem is. So let's say, I'm going to use Mike for an example. He's in a hypnotherapy session. His eyes are closed. And he's like, I just have PTSD. So we go back, say, basically kind of guide him, where did this PTSD begin? Because our minds know, but just because we use more logical thinking, we don't necessarily remember to where our subconscious does. Because our subconscious is like a vault, basically. It stores memories that maybe it doesn't remind us of until we get in uncomfortable situations. And it's like, oh, I have this weird feeling about this. So, and we still may not remember, but our subconscious mind's kind of warning us, hey, be careful because we've been here before or something similar. So that's where we start to get anxiety and just, very nervous in those type of situations. So while his eyes are closed and we're taking him back to these scenes, by doing it in the subconscious mind, we're able to unlock that vault and really get in there and find out where these locations were. With PTSD, most of the time, especially military oriented, it's usually not in wartime. It begins much earlier in life than wartime. That wartime was just kind of that last straw that really broke the camel's back. So it's one of those, something happens earlier in life in that respect. Now, one client that we had recently, She had a very abusive relationship, and it became where it was causing her to introvert, and she didn't want to go outside anymore because she felt she was being followed and stalked and this and that and the other. I mean, she keeps herself off of social media. So it was one of those things. She became a recluse, and she goes, I can't live myself. I can't live like this. This is not how she's a very outgoing person. And in one session, we were able to break through that. And she called us the next day. She goes, oh my God, I went to the grocery store. I went to the gym. I went here. I went there. But we were able to get in, see the scenes that were really creating this trauma and this anxiety. And we were able to deal with it and allow her to process it and move forward in a positive way. And we do provide recordings after our session because our minds do learn by repetition, because a lot of people think, oh, hypnosis, one and done. And that's not necessarily the case, because our beliefs take a while to form. And, a lot of times it's through years of whether it's negative talk or other people saying different things to us in a negative way that we begin to believe it, and we, make it so, or make it a blueprint basically for our thoughts.
Negative programming.
Exactly. Negative programming. So by us providing the recordings, we're able to get in there and just continually provide that positive feedback to make that positive change for someone.
Do you think more of your, not that way either. My brain just decided that it didn't want to ask that question.
That's all right.
What type of clients do you have? Are they people, moms and dads, police officers, ministers, everything,
College
nothing
student.
in particular?
Absolutely. Yeah. We've got food service workers. We have the individual, that had this issue with the PTSD. She was retired, but she had a long list of things that she did. She was in the news, she was a news, not anchor, but
like a
it was a
reporter,
small,
news reporter, small news. Yeah.
Like a small news reporter. She was a teacher at one time.
Real estate agent.
And then another one, I actually had a psychologist just the last week, actually, or week before.
Yeah.
So had a psychologist because, what a lot of people don't realize is that, psychologists, psychiatrists, all these people, they deal with that negativity too, but where does it go? And so sometimes they need assistance as well. With us, how we kind of look at our sessions, we don't get bogged down. We get very tired after a session. It's just because of the energy that goes into it. But we see the progress immediately after that session, and it just kind of fuels us to want to do more.
So do you guys get referrals from psychiatrists, psychologists?
We are working on that. Yes, we are working on that. Yes. It is, hypnotherapy is still a stigma. So we're trying to do a lot of education when it comes to breaking down that wall of stigma. Everybody is different. So, somebody that does psychoanalysis therapy, where they go to a talk therapist or they go to a psychiatrist, that may work well, but maybe they have a hurdle that they just are having a hard time to get over. And that's where we come in, break down that. And if they want to go back to their, psychoanalysis talk therapy, they absolutely can. Absolutely. Nothing saying that they can't, but it's another alternative way for people to find that healing and forward progression.
So we have a question here from James. He asks, with law enforcement going through repetitive trauma, can repeated use of hypnotherapy give assistance with their daily living?
Yeah, I'll let you answer that.
Absolutely, my friend. It can. And there were studies, I think they did it over in the UK as well, where they would use hypnotherapy on their officers for, whatever, if they had any kind of trauma, whether it's been officer involved shooting or something they have seen. You see stuff every single day and you bring it home. And when I first got into law enforcement, I was always told, you grieve on your own time, you'll figure it out when. And you're looking at over 13, 14, 15 years of having stuff piled on and not being taught a proper release process. So they had utilized hypnotherapy for some of their officers and found out that their quality of life was much better. They were able to relax. It's not like that when you do the hypnotherapy, oh, I'm going to lose my testosterone and my machismo. No, it's actually going to help you out. It doesn't make you seem weaker, so to speak. It actually helps you. It can enhance it empowers you. It lets you tune into your intuition just a little bit better. So by being able to do that and unload whatever kind of daily trauma that you may have experienced, or even from the week, or maybe that particular hour or so, you could take 3 minutes sitting in the car before you clear the call and just bring yourself down. Put your, breathing techniques are amazing,
Huge.
but that will have the ability to improve your mental health at work, and then at home, you're not bringing stuff at home. You can get better quality of sleep. So it, all in all, hypnotherapy for law enforcement is an outstanding tool when it comes to having to deal with the trauma, to help release some of the stress or that negative energy throughout the day. And it just helps improve everything from your job performance to your family life as well, because then you're just not always tense looking over your shoulder. I was.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I did that. I was high strung 26 hours a day from it. So to sit and say, oh, do this, no, I lived it. It was pretty stressful.
And James asks a follow-up question. Can insurance help pay for these sessions?
Absolutely, yes. So we do not process insurance, but what we do provide is we let you ask your provider, if your insurance provider, if they will reimburse you for a full session or a partial session. So what we would do at that point, once you find out from them, we would provide you a document to provide to your insurance company for that reimbursement. But you do have to check with them first.
Yeah. How long does a session usually last?
A session usually lasts 2 hours. So it really, everybody thinks it's a really long time until you actually do a session, and it seems like it's done within just minutes. Because of how much we go through, it goes by very, very quickly. And it is $250 a session. We do work with veterans, law enforcement, and those, in special circumstances. So, if you have a special circumstance, let us know, because Mike was in the military and law enforcement as well. And, we do deal with domestic abuse cases as well. So
what made you guys choose this path? I mean, I've heard the story, but some of the listeners, a lot of these are new people who've never heard you guys before. So what made you guys take this path as opposed to staying corporate?
All right. So this is a good one. This may take up the entire allotted time, but I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible.
Take your time. It's all about you anyway.
Oh, no. We thank you guys for having us on.
Absolutely.
So it was kind of during the COVID era, things had kicked off, and I had gotten a call from a friend of mine. So he, Army veteran as well. He and I were private security contractors together. We worked for a company, Triple Canopy, and he was on my team in Baghdad. Knew him very well. Loved the guy until, and I'm getting to that. So he calls up, hey, need your help. If you and Tory could come and help us. And what he did, the company he was with, they were going around and setting up the rapid COVID testing facilities. They said, we need people to go in, set these sites up, train the management, train the admin, train the lab techs, and, basically within 3 days, get one up and running, get everything going, then move on to the next site. Well, we did this for 2 years, 7 days a week. It was fun, but it was extremely hectic. The people we met and the things that we learned, especially it got to the point to where we were setting up the IT. It's like, hey, do you know how to run IT cable and set this up? Like, yeah. So we ended up setting up all the IT. We would coordinate with the municipalities whenever we found a place. Hey, can we use this? Okay. So we'd have to bring it up to code if it wasn't up to code, and then have it go through inspections. Learned a lot. It was pretty. I still to this day, I go into a building, I see the little emergency exit signs. I want to push the button to test it to make sure, because that was something. Hey, if it doesn't work, you got to get a new one. Like, oh,
yeah, little PTSD.
So it was just a little of that. So the people we met, the ones that we trained and dealt with, absolute blast. We met some awesome people throughout all the states we traveled through. But as time progressed and people moved up the proverbial chain of command and made up their own titles, they got a little, you could see the narcissism coming out and the controlling and this, and it's like, this is not fun. This is not good at all. And we had actually, it's kind of interesting, we got blamed for threatening another employee who I work with as all of us were all ex-Army, most of us, and a couple, from SF. And someone had threatened this one guy that I knew him, great dude. And he gets a hold of us. He's like, hey, what's going on with this? I'm getting these messages. So as the threatening messages kept coming on, all of a sudden we get a phone call saying, hey, so-and-so, the guy that I work with in Baghdad, is saying the only people in the company who have the knowledge to be able to do these text messages is Mike and Tory. So
when we were trying to help him figure out who was doing it.
So said person who completely forgot about my law enforcement background, and we were asked previously to get software to help do background checks on people because there was some other stuff going on, failed to realize that I was going to do a reverse lookup on these phone numbers that were coming. So do the reverse lookup on these phone numbers, and lo and behold, come to find out they're coming from this one area, and there is sufficient probable cause to believe that one of the phone numbers was an attorney friend of the soon-to-be ex-wife of the guy who was accusing us. And it was a whole odd sort of situation.
A mess, big mess.
It was a mess. So,
but it really took a toll on our mental.
Oh God, our mental. It was horrible. Well, not only were we living out of hotels, eating out, not eating well, nothing at all. It worked. I mean, it was rough. Fun, but it was a rough lifestyle. Well, we eventually gotten told, like, you know what? We don't need the training section anymore. Thank you guys for your time. You have a week left. So one day here you are doing really well. That afternoon you're told, yeah, you know what? Thank you very much. You got a week. Finish up your paperwork. Get out of here. And we were still helping up messes months after the fact while we were back at the house. So there we are. We're at the hotel, and it may or may not have been in Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know. So anyway, we're sitting there and we're just absolutely mentally just drained. What are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? I could just feel the tension in the hotel room. And Tori was rolling through Facebook on the phone, and all of a sudden this ad by Vishen Lakhiani with Mind Valley for the Silva mind control system. Now, it's none of this CIA, MK Ultra stuff. It deals with your meditation, hypnotherapy. You're controlling your own mind. Controlling your own mind. You're not letting the external stimuli control what's going on in your head. You are actually in control. And that's something that it's kind of difficult to explain to some people. It's like you can change your thoughts. Is it easy? No, but you can do it. And it does take time. So we thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and download this audiobook from Jose Silva and give it a shot. Why not? So we did. And going through the book and going through the different phases of the meditation and how to get into a kind of a deep relaxation state fast, I noticed within about a day and a half, my animosity had completely diminished. My anger had completely diminished. And those of you who out there who know me James Choate, know that he's an old Army buddy. We were in the military together. We're cops together. We've done a lot together, some of which I don't think I'll say in public. But
don't need that on the record.
Yeah, we don't need that on there. But I noticed that, all the tension that I was feeling in the hotel room had pretty much gone away. And it was kind of a relaxing feeling. It's like, okay, so there is something to this. This is pretty neat. Well, we decided to get into, or Tori did. She goes, let me get into Mind Valley. Let's see what Mind Valley is all about. And that is where she found Marissa Peer and rapid transformational therapy. And she was doing like a 28-day program for like abundance and better mental health and just how to feel better. Get rid of limiting beliefs, blocks, from A to Z. So we went ahead and did it. The only thing I knew about hypnosis, I never heard of hypnotherapy, but I always heard of hypnosis. When I was growing up, my parents had a couple friends and they would go to the hypnotist about every 6 to 8 months to stop smoking. And that was all I knew about it, because they'd say, yeah, I'm starting to get my cravings back. Time to go back to the hypnotist. I'm like, okay. Well, we got into the hypnotherapy portion of it and started realizing like, wow, this is pretty interesting. This is very, for me to sit back then, if you told me, I'd have said that something was therapeutic that had nothing to do with lifting extremely heavy weights. I'd laughed in your face. So we went ahead, try out this program. It really worked. It was interesting because we were, doing a quick session every day. A hypnotherapy session. Well, when we got home, the opportunity fell on our laps to get certified in rapid transformational therapy, this modality of hypnotherapy. We said, we aren't the only ones who were dealing with narcissistic bosses, work stress, life stress, home stress, past trauma, whatever it may be. So it'd be kind of rude of us or selfish of us to hold on to this for ourselves and not at least, get certified and throw it out there and say, hey, here we are. We've been there. We've done this. We've been clients. This is what it did for us. Let us help you. And that is how we got into the hypnotherapy and holistic wellness business.
So are you sure they didn't hypnotize you into believing all this?
Yes, because we cannot make you believe in something or do something that you do not want to do, aside from the stage guys. Yeah. Because the people they cherry pick, they already know, oh, I love to be the center of attention. I'm going to get up on the stage. I'm going to make a complete fool of myself and I'm going to love it. And I'm going to be a TikTok superstar and all that good stuff. And that is kind of how they pick them.
Yeah. I don't want to cluck like a chicken.
No.
Yeah, no.
And
because that's the first thing most people think of is that you're going to make me cluck like a chicken.
Absolutely. And that's like what we were saying earlier, the stage hypnotism is completely different from hypnotherapy because your mind's already set, hey, this is going to be a therapy session. So your mind's not going to go and do something silly because you already have it set in your mind that this is going to be therapy and not for entertainment purposes. Yeah.
I tell people something similar about when they go to a haunted location.
Mm-hmm.
If they've heard that it's haunted, they are going to have a paranormal experience because they want it so bad.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Are the owners are you guys owners or operators, or are you associated with a company?
No, we have our own company, Complete Holistic Coaching and Wellness. So we were certified through Marissa Peer. She's the one that actually created rapid transformational therapy. And then, of course, for our coaching and the meditation, we were certified through Mind Valley. And
what is your website address in case they want to go look at that?
It's a very long one. It's complete holistic coaching and wellness.com.
There you go. So just what you see right below their name, just add .com to that.
.com to the end.
And just remember their website is a secure site too. So keep that in mind. So it's going to be an HTTPS on there. So
and
it didn't let me copy it very well earlier.
And we still adhere to the HIPAA regulations. So just like if, you go to your doctor, your psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever, they have HIPAA regulations they have to follow. We have to do that as well.
Well, we don't have to, but we choose to.
We choose to.
Yes.
So whatever is said with us is with us. It's not going to be, we're going to put down your experience, what you said, so that we can get the 5-star rating. We don't do. We kind of even stopped asking for, hey, could you give us a review? Because we're like, you just came to us with a experience that you've probably gone to therapy for maybe 5-6 years. You have a session with us, you already feel better. The next few days, you feel great. It's kind of, why don't you go on our website and give us a review about how screwed up you were and how great you are now. So if someone says, can I say something? If you want to put something on our Facebook and say, hey, this was great, love them, go for it. But we don't ask. That was kind of a.
Yeah. I would rather do like an anonymous Yelp review.
Yeah.
Because that way nobody knows who did it.
Yeah.
But that they were willing to say something nice at that time.
Yes.
But the bad part is you know what? Most people have nothing nice to say. They just want to make sure that they let people know when it sucks.
Yes.
That's why, because bad news travels so much faster than good news.
Yes. And it's infectious. So yeah.
It is. That's why, if something is truly bad, I will say something about it being truly bad. But if it's excellent, I'm definitely saying that it's excellent.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've done that as well. Really took that effort at that time to really pull people aside and say, hey, this has been fantastic. Yeah,
you guys were awesome. This was great. That was great.
So you guys are only into this now about almost 5 years, or just under 5 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so your business has grown leaps and bounds since then?
It has been a slow process because we do have to deal with a lot of stigma, stigma around, the hypnosis, hypnotherapy, because, we don't realize how much commercials and influential things that we see every day that lead us one direction, and that there's alternative methods that are a little healthier. And so it has been a challenge for us to really educate individuals and breaking through those stigma.
Yeah, because, like if you watch normal TV, say you watch soap operas during the day, which a lot of people do. I watch them on fast forward, but if you sit there and let it play through, Ron says all the time, he goes, no wonder these people are depressed. They're all dying from whatever drug they're trying to sell you on during the shows.
Yeah.
And, it's sad that, I know that they have to advertise, and I know that these shows can't be on for free.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's bad, but it's like 20 minutes of an hour show. Because all shows are about 39 minutes.
Yeah.
To 42. But you're looking at 20 minutes of the show is all
drug commercials.
Yeah. Well, harmful. Every one of these commercials is harmful in some way.
Yes.
To someone. And if you guys are offering an alternative to drug therapy.
Correct.
Yes.
So we're all right now, people are just being made aware, and I don't know why, just being made aware that there's dye in our food and chemicals making us sick and making us fat, which we've all known this for a long time, but now people are finally trying to battle it.
Yes.
I don't think any of us currently are going to need any formaldehyde to preserve our bodies after we die, because we have enough of that crap in our systems already.
Exactly. Yeah.
We have microplastics everywhere. And I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I know that I don't want polyethylene glycol or propylene glycol in my biscuits, my canned biscuits from Pillsbury.
Yeah.
I know I don't. I mean, if they use this stuff to de-ice a plane, why is it in my biscuit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's what people need to start thinking about is what's in their food that doesn't need to be there. We were looking for snacks for our grandkids, and I was looking for stuff that didn't have canola oil,
Yep.
no dyes.
Yep.
You know, things like that. The stuff that I already know is bad.
Well, even things we don't think about, you know, like spray oils, the chemical that they have to push it out of the can,
The propellant.
Ingesting that. And there's a great little sprayer on Amazon that you can pour your oils in, like olive oil. Avocado oil is an amazing oil as well. And it has a high, cook temperature, so you can even fry with it, or smoke temperature, excuse me. So, you can fry with that and even reuse it. If you filter it, reuse it. People don't realize that you can do those kind of things and it be a healthier alternative. And that's some of the things that we try to teach as well, especially in our Holobody class. We look at that nutritional base. We're not nutritionists, but we do, through our class, we did go through a lot of that, the palm oils, like you were saying, some of the nut oils and seed oils. They are not meant for us to consume in that way, not to those quantities, because, you can eat a handful of, let's say, sunflower seeds, but sunflower oil that they have on the market is, stripped of all its nutrients. Well, most oils stripped of all its nutrients. And then they have the anti-caking agent, which is mixed in with it so it doesn't stick in the machines. And we're ingesting that as well. So it just things that we don't think about because, oh, it's healthy. Oh, it's, all natural. But the problem is the base ingredient might be it's stripped of everything. They don't have to tell us that, which I think is wrong. And very misleading. And then of course, what they put into it, they don't have to notate that.
Right. It's just like, people think, oh, shredded cheese is so easy and it's good for you. Anti-caking agents.
Absolutely.
And they don't realize that they can rinse their cheese off, that shredded cheese off, and still use it.
Yeah.
But I would rather buy a block of cheese if I can.
Oh, absolutely.
Shred it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might shred off part of my finger and they might get a fingernail in it. That's a whole different problem. But protein, it can flush your teeth at the same time.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I had read about canola oil, that it's banned in other countries. Why do we allow it in our food? I don't get it.
It's lining somebody's pocket. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. It's just lining people's pockets and allowing these companies to make money hand over fist.
Well, like when you guys said that you guys were setting up all these clinics for COVID, a lot of that stuff was along those same lines.
It was.
If not even worse, because they had people buying into the fear. And I mean, and a lot of the stuff that you guys are dealing with, whether it's on the holistic side or the hypnosis side, a lot of that is fear that is just pushed into us every single day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And because what was it? There's a phrase you say with the fear.
Our thoughts make our beliefs.
No, just like the external fear that they provide us kind of keeps us in line, so to speak. It's one of those. It keeps you, oh my gosh, going back to the narrative, basically.
They bring it up. They're going to play on the fear as long as they keep playing the fear game. Oh, we're going to tell them this. We're going to tell them this is bad, and they're working on how stress can negatively impact them. As long as we can keep them in that stressed out state, then we're technically in control. We can tell them whatever we want. Oh, you need to do this. You need this supplement. You need that supplement. Let me introduce Jardiance, the musical.
Yeah.
And
seriously.
All that. Yeah.
And that's something else too. That's the psychology to them selling as well. Oh, now we have, people dancing around with this catchy music. So subconsciously, yes. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's actually kind of catchy, but it's one of those. Now it's ingrained in our mind. And, we might be humming it, maybe a day later because it's still in our minds, whether we realize it or not. So it's really important for us to see that, that is part of marketing is psychology.
And a lot of these foods, like you're talking about the oils and some other foods, can be what's causing your inflammation. It could be, hey, I think I got arthritis. Nah, I'm just getting old. Well, let's take a look at what you're eating. And you can do the elimination diet. We had learned about this and well, let's just start pulling some food away. There is an elimination diet menu. So it's not like, I just don't eat. If you want to fast for 5 or 6 days, have at it. That's fine too. Or, do intermittent fasting, which is another whole thing. But we have found that when some people, subliminal advertising. Pizza's the best. Pizza.
Well, no, we actually,
pizza.
So funny thing that you bring up the pizza, James, is we are going to we've done a few videos on our YouTube channel where we're making alternative like snacks. We've got a cottage cheese cookie that is amazing. I hate cottage cheese. Oh my God, I love these cookies. Holy cow. And we've done donuts as well. Really, really good. It's to increase your protein intake because protein is the building block of our bodies. So, which can also assist with arthritis and inflammation in the body. So with pizza, we've actually come up with a couple different recipes.
Our son came up with one
of them where you use a chicken as the base, but it's a whole breast chicken that you use for the base, and then also turkey. So we're going to be soon creating some more of these videos and putting it on our YouTube to kind of assist with that inflammation, inflammatory factor in our bodies through our diet.
So not cauliflower crust.
Not cauliflower.
No.
You can use
that but you can use that to fill a balloon.
Yes, you can.
That you could.
Oh.
And chicken and the turkey is much easier to work with than the cauliflower would be. Yeah.
Well, the whole house stinks if you use cauliflower.
Yes, it does.
I don't like cauliflower.
I know you don't like cauliflower.
Oh, yeah.
I know that I like to make pizza out of tortilla shells. Tortillas.
Yeah.
And just recently we're dealing with grandchildren that are autistic. It's somewhere on the spectrum. I'm not saying that they're severely autistic or whatever. They're somewhere on the spectrum, and we're trying to eliminate things. Yeah. And gluten is one of the things that they say you need to try to get rid of as much as you can. But gluten-free bread is horrible.
Yes.
I would much rather eat a brick.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yep.
And so I got some gluten-free tortilla shells so that I can make them some little pizzas in the air fryer.
There you go.
And because I know that we can hide some vegetables in the pizza sauce, just grind them up and they'll never know, that kind of stuff. What do you think could help with diet restrictions for people who are autistic? I mean, not just children, but grownups also have, this issue where, I don't know. From what I can tell anymore, they can't figure out the difference between autistic and ADHD and ADD. I don't think, and I think they even get obsessive compulsive mixed up in there somewhere.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So first off, we don't know how to figure out what to do, but what we're trying to do is, like I said, get rid of the dyes, get rid of these things that we know that we can do something about. But have you guys dealt with any adults that have come to you with these kinds of things, asking you, holistically, how can we work on this?
We did have one, and this is Gary. But yes, you can. And what it has, a lot of the studies that we have found, it deals with the carbs and, like you said, the dyes, and all the processed chemicals that are going into the food. So with that, definitely, try to avoid those foods. Anytime that you can make it yourself, it's best. If we do anything with dough, we always use King Arthur bread because one, it's unbleached. And what that means is they are stripping the nutrients from the flour that normally, if you just went out and just started chewing on, wheat in the field, granted, you don't want to do it now because of all the pesticides, but, back in the day, it wouldn't affect us like it does now because of, the Industrial Revolution, how they decided to process all of those foods to make it in that bulk. King Arthur is the best of the flour industry when it comes to that.
That's what I get. I get unbleached flour. And if I can get it, I get whole wheat.
Yep. Absolutely. And so it's really looking at your diet, even unfortunately tortillas, have a lot of the, preservatives that actually create more issues, like you're holding on to more fat, that kind of thing. So, we're looking at several recipes to make our own tortillas. And really looking at, is it, in today's society, it's kind of frowned upon because it takes more time, but at the same time, you're really benefiting your health and improving your longevity in the process.
That's funny that you say that because during COVID, everybody was taking all this time to make their bread and to make their banana bread and, all this crap, and so now that we're all getting back into the offices and all this stuff, people are now trying to figure out ways to do it faster again. I make my own jams and stuff like that, and because I can control the amount of sugar that goes in them.
Yes.
Like when I make apple butter, it's unsweetened until I add what I'm going to add, and I can adjust that based on who I'm making it for.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's important for people. I mean, they've gotten away from fermented foods. I mean, I think the biggest fermentation thing that people eat are pickles.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't think that they think of anything other than pickles.
No.
Ron, on the other hand, thinks of jalapenos. So at least he's got two.
There you go.
The bulk of people, if you say, tell me something that's fermented,
kimchi,
they're not going to know.
Yeah.
So, but Ron got this book, Good Energy by Casey Means.
Nice.
Okay.
And it's very good at breaking down a lot of the things you guys are talking about.
It goes into details of what exactly the crap they put in it, in your foods, and what it actually does to your body. When you actually read that, you go, "Oh, hell with that."
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to give up.
He's lost anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Just by changing simple things.
Absolutely.
And adding a bunch of Bob's Red Mill stuff into his diet.
Yeah. Bob's is good.
Yeah, we do the stuff.
Oats. Yeah. I mean, you can do the oats. We do overnight oats. I know they have it prepackaged, but you can do it very
It's horrible.
It is horrible. It is slimy, unfortunately, but what we do, we have a recipe where you take Bob the Red Mill oats, and you put some it depends on how much you make to set overnight, but you take the apple cider vinegar, Bragg's with the Mother's, and you put a little bit in there, and then some water, and preferably filtered water. And then you let it sit overnight. And what the vinegar does is it breaks down the external shell of the oats. So if you do have a sensitivity, like most do these days when it comes to, the grains, it actually helps your body process it better and faster. And it has that little bit of fermentation. So you even if you rinse it, you still have kind of that apple flavor, which is nice. So if you like apple cinnamon, just add a little cinnamon to it, and you're good to go. And if you need a sweetener, honey, maple syrup, if you do grade A maple syrup, that's one of the ways that we sweeten a lot of our stuff is between that, honey, or a brown, less refined sugar, like Florida raw, or something like that.
Florida raw,
Yes.
and I used to use fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I used to make them in a little jar,
Mm-hmm.
put them in the fridge, and a little bit of banana, a little bit of peanut butter if I wanted it, that kind of stuff. And the kids loved it. Couldn't get him to eat oatmeal until this year.
Oh, wow.
So he still won't eat cream of wheat, but cream of wheat is probably one of the most horrible things for you.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I love it.
Well, they got a wheat brand.
Yeah. And James, kimchi, it's a great equalizer.
Absolutely.
It'll run me right out of the house.
And it's so funny because when we went to James' house, his wife had made like a summer kimchi. Oh my God, it was delicious. So I ended up buying the book that she had for that purpose, because it is. I mean, we don't realize how fermented foods can really assist in our gut health. Our stomach is known as our second brain. And there's a reason for that because it fuels our body. It can either fuel it in a bad way or fuel it in a good way. And that is our choice. But we need to be educated in the choices that we make. And I think we're very easy to just kind of go with it. Hey, it's on the shelf, so it's got to be healthy for me. And that's not the case. It's just lining those companies' pockets. And they really don't care how long you live. And that's unfortunate because you're a customer of theirs and you think that they would want, to
they're killing their customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the thing, like when we were growing up and, everybody was smoking. And, you don't see it as much as you used to. I mean, in all honesty, you just don't see it as much.
Cigarette companies are killing their customers.
Well, now it's vaping. And
I mean, the minute that somebody said that, I was like, you're sucking on chemicals. How can this be good?
Yes.
And so they go, well, I quit smoking. And it's like, no, you didn't. You just replaced one thing in your mouth with another.
Exactly.
One that's even stronger and worse for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I was to take one supplement, what would you suggest that everybody takes as one supplement?
That's a tough one because I'd say 2. But
the first one that comes to mind, and I haven't heard this back when I was in the Army and I just got started into powerlifting, was magnesium. Magnesium does so much.
But you want to make sure it's glycinate, right?
Magnesium glycinate.
Yeah.
I take a 3 magnesium. It's got all 3 in it. I take it at night. And you had recommended that to me when I said something about a migraine. I mean, when I was having that migraine that I wrote about, I was half dead. I mean, I was thinking about going to the hospital. It was that bad. And he knows me well enough to know that I'm not going to say, take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where I was beginning to think I was having a stroke.
Yeah.
But I take this blend of 3 different magnesiums every night. I take 2 before bed, and I know that it's helping me sleep better.
Yeah.
And we just started our grandchildren on magnesium.
Nice.
And my nephew Timothy would say magnesium as well, according to Donna.
Nice.
Yep.
A smart nephew there.
Magnesium is amazing.
It really is. Yeah. And, it deals a lot with, I mean, so many other things. And, people are just like, oh, well, but it deals with cramps, the processing of your food, brain health, just all of these different things because, we're one big system and it has to utilize it. And it'll, when you first start taking it, you might feel better in one area because maybe that was your body's like, okay, this is where it needs the most attention. And then the more you take it, you just start feeling better all over your body because, okay, we've dealt with this one. So let's now, kind of spread it around the body. And the other one would be vitamin B.
Vitamin B,
which would be, you would have to watch and make sure it says methylcobalamin on the ingredient because there is one that says cyanocobalamin, which what the cyano does is it strips the cell of all other nutrients, but it does push in the vitamin B. It does, but you have that counter effect. So it just kind of, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul there. So what did
you say that was again?
It's going to be the vitamin B. It's going to be methyl, methyl, cobalamin. You want the methyl, not the cyano.
Okay.
Yeah, because the methyl is easier for the body to process and absorb correctly. And, B helps with energy. It helps with mental clarity. Mike had a gentleman that he worked with in Iraq. Mm-hmm. His wife had severe bipolar incidents. And he had actually heard this on a radio station when he was working midnight shift with the police department, and said vitamin B can actually help with those particular issues. So he told this gentleman before he went home, because the guy didn't want to go home. He had to go home for 30 days. That was the same standard rotation. And he goes, I just hate going home because she doesn't like taking her medication. And so she's just, she's trying to kill me when I get home. We've got the kids there, her mother's there trying to help with everything. And he goes, it's just a disaster. So he went home. Mike's like, just try this, because you can take as much vitamin B as you want because your body's just going to expel it. I mean, you don't want to take a whole bottle, obviously, but, take 2 or 3 capsules a couple times a day. And she started to do that. And she went from having an episode every day to maybe having an episode, a very, very mild episode once in that 30-day time frame.
Yeah, because he came back, he goes, man, I got to thank you so much. I'm like, angry for what? I've been here 6 months, man. I
have no idea.
But you have to break that down. And he goes, vitamin B thing, and my wife, he said she was open to try it. And, like I said, the episodes went from lasting days to weeks to like a day and a half down to like a morning.
Yeah.
Like, well, there you go. I got it from a radio show called Dead Pharmacists Don't Lie. And
and that's something that we don't realize either, is that, illness comes from 2 things: our mental state and our as far as our dietary consumption. So mental state, they did a medical study, that 75% of illness actually comes from the mind. So negative things we say to ourselves, you have hypochondriacs, at some point they actually do get these symptoms because they continually tell themselves that they have it. So their body creates it. And then you have the dietary side of it. So what that means is we are depriving ourselves of vitamins and minerals that the body needs to help function properly. When it can't function properly, that's when the illnesses, tend to rear their ugly head, along with stresses, which create inflammation and then turns into some form of illness. And that's something else too. I ended up getting sick back in 2012. I did not realize it was stemmed from leaky gut. It created encephalitis. I still have paralysis on the side of my face.
The Forrest Whitaker eye.
I can pull up pictures. But it was one of those where, because my gut health was so poor, that it ended up breaking the blood-brain barrier, and all the junk that was in my bloodstream went to my brain. So my brain started attacking itself. And talking about the migraines, I had migraines for 11 months straight and had to go to work, had to function. So I definitely understand what you were going through. And, a simple blood test from a naturopath nurse, certified in the state of Florida, got me on the path of, natural healing. And that was kind of another, building block to us going to the wellness side as well.
Yeah, I understand. I had a migraine for 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you try to function the best you can.
I did. I had 3 kids and I ran a full-time daycare, and I was going to school, and I still had to do everything because he was, he was gone.
Yeah.
And
she also drank Diet Coke by the case.
Oh yeah.
But again,
what
we didn't know then, what we do now. But
absolutely.
Crystal says something that we may need to say. Except with vitamin B6, you can get poisoned from too much. So, from her experience anyway. So, before you do anything that we've said here, make sure you research it and check it
Oh,
with your
yes,
doctor
absolutely.
first.
And something else with that, make sure the quality of the supplement.
Right.
That's huge because they do put a lot of fillers in lower quality vitamins and supplements. So definitely do your research there as well.
Yeah, I suggest food-based and not synthetic.
Yes, absolutely.
Because your body's going to be able to metabolize that much better. Absolutely. And make sure that if you're getting gelatin caps, that they really truly are gelatin and not something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of
because some of those now have microplastics in them.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be really careful. So
very careful.
Yeah. We do a lot of stuff with ancient nutrition only because we found that we like the quality of what we're getting. Yes, we're paying a little bit more, but I think we're getting very good quality.
Yeah.
We won't know.
Yeah.
We won't know for a while, but it seems like we're getting good quality. And
it's the difference
for our money.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, do with what you feel comfortable, but like you said, do your research. Make sure they're not putting those, the preservatives and fillers in there because they do have a lot of room that they have to fill, unfortunately. It's like with us, when we look at one, we make sure it's the methylcobalamin if we're doing, vitamin B. Turmeric is a natural anti-inflammatory, which is phenomenal. We do get the organic. Again, you're going to pay a little bit more, but you're getting that quality and knowing that it's not going to have all those excess fillers.
And there's ways to check your quality of the turmeric.
Yeah.
It's all in what, I'd read it. I was like, you know what? Let me try this. Let me just see what I've been taking for the past year if it's actually okay. And it was good. So I was like, man, I'd be mad.
Oh yeah, I take a black seed oil, and it's not something that you take every day. It's something you take for a few months, and then you take a break, and then you take it again. And I like how I feel when I'm on that. I don't have as many aches and pains.
Yeah.
My hair doesn't come in as gray.
Nice. Yeah.
Does it? Do I know this for a fact? No, I don't. But that's how I see it.
You noticed. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's going to affect people differently. Absolutely. So, those benefits.
So, but yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things. Black garlic is another thing that's old, but people are just finding out about.
Yeah. It's been around for ages.
Yeah. And I think that, people should be looking at the stuff that's been around for ages before they go to this new stuff until they know that this new stuff is as good as.
Absolutely.
I know that vitamins when I was a kid tasted like a vitamin.
Yes, they did.
Oh, they were disgusting.
Chalk and
yeah. I mean, the Flintstone vitamins were horrible.
Yes,
when
they
we were kids.
Worth a crap.
No, they were actually pretty good for you. There's no dye in them. All this other stuff back then. It was in the 60s and 70s. Wasn't bad. Tasted horrible. You couldn't get a kid to overdose on them. Now they got them all in gummies and they taste great and the kids will eat the whole thing and then you're having to take them to the hospital.
I just ate dirt for my vitamins.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Couldn't do that in New Jersey.
No.
Couldn't do it in New Jersey. There was too much lead in our backyard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's another thing. We're not seeing kids outside playing like we used to.
No, that's right.
So, and James, if I knew what mullein was, I guarantee it's in my yard somewhere.
Probably. So mullein is a wonderful herb for respiratory health. My mom actually gave it to my niece in her, what was the
aspirator?
Yeah, it was a machine though.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the breathing machine is what we called it. But, instead of a albuterol, which was a steroid that would help open her lungs, my mom would actually put a liquid mullein in it and allow her to breathe. So it would help naturally with, opening up her lungs. You can make it in tea form. You can do it in a tincture, just a bunch of different methods that you could utilize for it. But mullein is an amazing, amazing herb.
Yeah, one of the shows on our network.
Like James said, old smoker.
Yeah. One of the shows on our network
definitely worth a try.
Was they made it down in Oklahoma, the Rages. They
that's where I heard of it.
She was doing a lot of that stuff, and making the tinctures and all that. Mm-hmm. And but they also do all the stuff with the hot peppers.
Mm-hmm.
Using capsaicin, gels and ointments and stuff like that. They were making those out of the peppers that they grew. And like I said, stuff you wouldn't think of is actually really important for our well-being.
Yes.
But
the record for the hottest one for a little bit.
But one of the things that really gets me is that with the internet and stuff, we're still no smarter than we were 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
They're actually dumber.
Yeah, people are actually dumber.
Well, it's really funny that you say that, because there was an interview that David Bowie did in 83 or 85. I can't remember. But he was actually talking about the internet and how detrimental it's going to be. We're going to have all this information, but we don't know how to utilize it, and what it's going to cause for society. And it was I wish I need to find it again, but it was really powerful. The fact that before it even came to light, he already knew this, so, it's come true, and it's very unfortunate.
It could be because he was a time traveler.
Maybe
he tried to make us believe that.
Maybe. Well, and the thing, I think, a lot of people talk about energies and whatnot. And, a lot of times, there is clairvoyancy, and, you have these, ability to, foresee certain things come to pass. Back in, biblical times, it was seeing the future, so to speak, and they were crazy. But if we really tap into our energy, it's possible. It really is. I have not been as fortunate to do that, but.
So, well, you know what? I think we're getting near the end of the show, and we're so sad that Carl wasn't able to be here.
I figured he would.
We haven't heard from him, so we hope all's well up in northwestern Missouri.
Yes.
I know.
Hopefully they just started a new business, so hopefully he's super busy.
Yeah, awesome. Hopefully that's what it is. So
yes, I wish you the best there for sure.
But where can everybody find you guys? Repeat your website so that they'll know.
Yes. So the website is, of course, it is like you stated earlier, it is a secure site. So it's HTTPS, but all you have to type in is CompleteHolisticCoachingAndWellness.com. You'll find us there. We're on most social medias. So Facebook, Instagram,
TikTok,
YouTube. Yes.
So when's your next video dropping on YouTube?
That is a good question. We're going to be doing some recipes. We're going to kind of bulk it and then slowly start putting them out. We try to do them at least, once a week. We haven't recently just because things have been a little crazy getting our social media revamped. So you might not see anything that we've had a little delay between postings, but we're trying to revamp what we're doing and kind of redirecting our social media presence there.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing so much information with us. And I know that a lot of you are probably going, what's this got to do with the paranormal? It has to do with your intuition and what's inside of you and how you perceive stuff.
Yes.
It may not be paranormal, but you know what? If you're feeling great, it feels like it was paranormal.
There you go.
You have a supernatural ability inside you to heal yourself. And Mike and Tory are a couple people that you can talk to about finding that supernatural power within yourself to heal.
Absolutely.
So I would like to thank everybody for listening to Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal tonight. And please join us next Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Central. I already have guests lined up. I don't know who they are right now. I haven't looked at the piece of paper that I wrote them on, but I have guests lined up, and you can catch Paranormal Pride on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central and all the places that you watch this tonight. But we're on Things Network, where Carl, Ron, and myself are all members of Things of Carl of Missouri, us of Florida. You can also catch us on Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment's Facebook page. You can catch us on Dark Realm TV on Roku and Amazon Fire, soon to be on Apple TV. You can also catch us on the Paranormal Pride Facebook and YouTube pages, and on Carl Alberston's YouTube page. So if you guys have any questions, and I cannot forget this, the Bill of Rights Network, both on YouTube or on Facebook, and BoRNTV on Rumble. So make sure you check out all those places. If you have any guest ideas or anything you want to run by me, please reach out and let me know. And again, I'm going to end the show the same way I started. If any of you want to help out with the healthcare costs of either of my nephews, please reach out. I can tell you how you can help out, and keep praying for them, because that's helping them more than you know. All those positive thoughts being out there on the airwaves will help them heal, and makes me feel better knowing that I'm doing something to help. So, but I'd like to thank you guys, and everyone have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.